In this video, we're going to set up an example seal gap system using LMI's wireless 237, 238, and 237 Ultra Mini gauges. This setup will involve calibration and mastering using LMI's wireless utility, as well as LMI's universal gauge interface software to create and run a part file that will collect the data that we need. We start this process by first associating and calibrating our gauges. Before we begin, however, we need to make sure that the microridge USB base is plugged in, as this is the bridge that will allow the gauges to communicate with the software. Once the base is plugged in, we can open up the wireless utility and click on the Find Base Unit button. When we do this, we should notice that the green LED in the lower right-hand corner of the base begins to flash. And the next step is we will turn on the gauge by pushing and releasing the Transmit button. Once we see the green LED flashing, we will then hold down the button for approximately 4 seconds until it beeps. When it beeps, we should see that the software changes over to the wireless gauge information tab, and we have a pop-up here that says the wireless gauge is not associated. In order to associate it, we're going to click on the Associate Gauge button and watch the green bar as it scrolls all the way across the bottom of the window. We'll click on OK, and then we're going to press and hold the button again for about 4 seconds. And when we do this, we'll see that the red changes to green and that the grid populates with the information that is particular to this gauge. To enter our calibration and setup mode, we're going to double click on the gauge model. Now, from the Edit Gauges window, we can enter the calibration by clicking on the callo, and then we want to retract the plunger as far down as we can. I'm pushing it with my thumb. Hit the sample button. For the cal high, we're going to extend the probe all the way out and click sample. And then for the master process, I want to have a very flat surface, and I'm using our calibration verification block for this step. I'm going to take the gauge and hold it down on this flat surface and click the sample button one more time. To zero out the gauge, I simply click on the 0 button here and sample one more time. And the last step I need to do is click on the update button. When I do that, I will get a message saying that I need to exit the screen to commit the changes, so I click on OK. I will then click on the red X up here in the corner. And now I should see the green LED begin to flash red, indicating that the setup was successful and the gauge is shutting itself off.